Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend and stuffed your face to your heart's content with delicious barbecue food. Me, however, I spent it watching Guy Ritchie's newest Apple Plus original film, The Fountain of Youth. In this film, John Krasinski and Natalie Portman play siblings who kind of went their separate ways once their father died. Their father was a treasure seeker, he was an archaeologist, and he was always chasing these real-world myths. And when he died, Natalie Portman kind of wanted to go off and have a normal life where she would get married and have kids and just be normal. But John Krasinski always looked up to his dad, so he wanted to follow in his footsteps and went on to continue seeking national treasures and all these other things. One day, this terminally ill billionaire played by Donald Gleason comes to John Krasinski and tells him, like, look, I believe that the Fountain of Youth exists, and I want to use my huge amounts of wealth to pay for you and your team to go on an adventure and find it, which would in turn hopefully cure me of my terminal illness. Now, John Krasinski agrees to do it, but not without the help of his sister, who was always kind of the brains of the operation. And although she's reluctant, he convinces her that, like, look, you haven't been happy since we used to do stuff like this together, stuff that our dad raised us to do. You're bored, your own kid thinks you're boring. You need this for you as much as this billionaire needs it to cure his illness. So she joins and they go on this big epic globe-trotting adventure together. Now, right off the bat, I'm just going to start off with saying I really enjoyed this film. It's not perfect, and it's not reinventing the wheel of globe-trotting, treasure-seeking adventures, but it's very much Guy Ritchie wanting to throw his hat in this genre, and I think he did a pretty good job. Now, like I said, this movie isn't perfect, but it's a lot of fun, and look, if you like Indiana Jones, you like the Uncharted video games, you like Tomb Raider, you like watching charismatic, fun action heroes go on these big, grand adventures looking for some lost relic like the Fountain of Youth, I think you're gonna have fun with this, and it's done by Guy Ritchie, who is a master at directing. I always love this genre because it's really fun watching directors and writers take these real-world things and artifacts and paintings and stringing it together to create this really engaging mystery of this fake artifact that might exist, but using real-world things like the pyramids of Egypt and stuff like that. And seeing how it all comes together to be a coherent story is always part of the fun. It's actually something that they talk about in this movie, where it's not really the destination as much as it's the journey that makes it all worth it. It's not finding the treasure, it's going on the journey to look for it. That's what makes these movies work. It's never them finding the thing at the end. It's how much fun we have watching them along the way, figure out all the riddles and puzzles and go through these mazes and tombs and how they use their knowledge to overcome these obstacles. And they do a really good job at that here.
It's like Dad said, the reward is in the journey.
Not when the journey ends in jail.
I think John Krasinski is excellent as this charismatic action hero. His personality just lends so well to this type of character. He's already naturally funny and really charismatic, but I also love watching him just be an action hero and beat up bad guys. Half the time I was just imagining that this was a live action Uncharted film, and he plays like a Nathan Drake with his quippy one-liners. He's always writing off real problems with jokes. Like, he's always cracking a joke at the expense of being serious. He just plays like that really fun Nathan Drake or Indiana Jones action hero.
I'm not going to jail.
How do you know that?
Because I've done this. Watch. And it never ends in jail.
Sometimes it ends in jail.
Please.
Natalie Portman is also a lot of fun here as this reserved person that you could tell wants to be her old self and be this globe-trotting treasure hunter, but the fact that she gave up that life to be a mother, she's conflicted between those two worlds where she wants to take care of her kid, but she also wants to go back to doing this thing that she used to enjoy doing with her father. I thought she played that complexity really well. I thought Donald Gleason was really fun here as this billionaire dying of cancer that just so desperately wanted to find this fountain and heal himself. He could have come off as the over-the-top evil villain that, like, just wants to find it for his own means, but I really liked that it was for the sake of him just wanting to get better. He wasn't really a bad guy. Now, there are twists and turns in this movie towards the end that are also very much so rooted in this type of genre. There's always twists, double crosses in films like this, and the one that happens, I didn't see it coming, if I'm being completely honest. I thought they did a good job of concealing the true intentions of a lot of people in this. The action was great, but I never doubted that it's Guy Ritchie. He knows how to film action. The humor really worked. The banter between the siblings was really good. The way they piece everything together and figure out how to find this fountain is really inventive. But now with the good out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the bad. Like I said, this movie isn't perfect, and there are definitely some things in here that felt rather forced. There is an entire subplot with, I believe, the Knights of the Templar, and one of them is being played by Isa Gonzalez. You've seen her in the trailer. Her whole purpose is to protect the fountain from being found, especially by the wrong people. So she's this constant threat that kind of just pops up randomly to have a fight scene with John Krasinski and try and get him to stop looking for it. And on on one hand, it makes for some fun action moments where John Krasinski has to fight these Knights of the Templar every so often throughout the film. On the other hand, as much as I like Isla Gonzalez in the role, I think she's a great action heroine, they don't really make any sense why they're there. You find out that her boss is Stanley Tucci, which is also a Knights of the Templar type of character, but I'm sitting there like, how do these people keep finding John Krasinski? Like, what technology are they using to hunt them down? Are they using mythical magic-like powers because they're, you know, protectors of the Fountain of Youth? Or are they using an absurd amount of money and technology to like kind of find them? They never really explain them or where they come from or how they're funded. There's a part in this film where John Krasinski and his team have to dig up a buried pirate ship, essentially, and they do this by getting funded billions of dollars from this billionaire to go to the bottom of the sea where the ship is, put all these inflatables around it, inflate them, and then have the inflatables bring the ship to the surface. Now, it makes sense why he's able to do it because he has his billionaire funding it. But then while they're in this ship looking for this artifact that they need, Isaac Gonzalez shows up in like a decked out army chopper with full tactile gear and fully automatic weapons. Like, where are they getting the money for this? If I'm to believe they're these Templars, they wouldn't have all the money in the world. And I'm sure they could have written a good reason why they're so wealthy and that they're so decked out with all this gear to protect this fountain. But Guy Ritchie never cares to tell you, so it's just left up to the imagination. And it just felt kind of lazy. And on top of that, they try and force this romance between Isla Gonzalez and John Krasinski. And it's just so not there. Like the chemistry between them is so unbelievable and cheesy and corny, and it just doesn't work.
Do you think we should just get the kiss out of the way now? No. All right. We'll come back to that.
And I almost wish they just took the Templars out altogether and Isla Gonzalez out altogether and then just left the movie like that. Like, it's just John Krasinski hunting this treasure. I just felt that the Templar thing was forced, and on paper, it probably sounded pretty cool to have people like that, but they just weren't developed well enough to find them believable. They kind of play like the Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, where they randomly just pop up for like 30 seconds to have a fight, and then they run off. They're gone. And then it's back to the adventure. Like, it just felt forced. My other complaint with this film is Natalie Portman is kind of a bad mom. In this, she just kind of brings her son along on this very dangerous expedition, putting him in constant peril. And I understand why they did it, because they created the son as a character to have this gift that actually helps them figure out one of the puzzles towards the end of the film. But I would have rather them just write off the son as a character and instead give that gift that helped him at the end to Natalie Portman's character. It would have made her more relevant. She was kind of useless in this film. She does figure out little things here and there, but when the end of the movie happens and the big reveal of the fountain comes to fruition, the only reason they find it is because of this kid. This kid is the one that successfully allows them to find the fountain. And it was just kind of like, really? Not John Krasinski, not Natalie Portman, not anybody else, it's this kid? Like, I just felt that this whole movie was gearing up to give Natalie Portman something fun to do, because on one hand, John Krasinski's the muscle. He's beating up all the bad guys and allowing them to have the time to figure this puzzle out. And then Natalie Portman's kind of just there watching it happen, and then the son finds the fountain. So like, she never had that important thing to do, and I felt like it kind of just wasted the potential of her character arc towards the end of this film. She wasn't able to have a good arc because it was robbed from her son, who is severely underdeveloped, and you never actually really care about him. But with those two things out of the way, again, like I said, this movie was a lot of fun. If you're a fan of these treasure-seeking movies like National Treasure and Indiana Jones, I think you're going to enjoy this. It's over the top, it's fun, it uses real-world locations, it has great action, great chemistry between Natalie Portman and John Krasinski, which is the important relationship you need to have in this film. I laughed, and I had a really good time. I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. If you have Apple Plus, I think it's definitely worth the watch. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Just don't go into it looking for a reinvention of this genre or the next great Indiana Jones-like film. It adds to the plethora of other swashbuckling action adventures. It just doesn't add anything new. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Did you know this movie was even a thing? Have I given you a reason to want to watch it this week? If I have, I'd love to talk about it in the comments down below, or maybe you've seen it already and you hate it. I would still love to talk about it and hear your reasons as to why. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.
Told you it'd be an adventure.